Imagine working the night shift alone in a forgotten place, where shadows move and silence hides terrible secrets. One man vanished without a trace. His final moments? Filled with whispers, eerie footsteps, and a door that opened all on its own. What happened inside that cold, empty unit still haunts those who know the truth. Tonight you will hear his story. But be warned, this is no ordinary haunting. This is real terror, lurking just beyond the light. Are you ready to face the darkness? Before we dive in, make sure to follow and support this channel for more true terrifying night shift horror stories that will keep you up at night. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what's coming next. The job sounded perfect. Quiet, simple, and far away from people. That's exactly what I needed after everything that happened last year. My name is Ethan Miller, and 2 weeks ago, I started working the night shift at a self-storage facility just off Route 19 in upstate New York. It wasn't much, just a concrete building surrounded by chain-link fence and floodlights that buzzed louder than the silence inside. But it paid better than most graveyard jobs, and there was a strange comfort in the stillness. The office was small, just a front desk, a wall of monitors showing live camera feeds, and a rusted coffee machine that produced something close to battery acid. Angela, the day's shift supervisor, gave me a rundown on my first evening. Lock the gate at 9. Watch the feeds. Log any motion alerts. Don't fall asleep. That was about it. For the first few nights, nothing happened. The cameras would pick up raccoons or wind-blown trash. I'd bring a book or just scroll through my phone. But on the fourth night, something changed. It was around 2:43 a.m. I remember because I had just gotten up to refill my coffee and nearly slipped on a wet patch near the back door. I figured it was from the rain earlier. I was halfway through cursing the leak when the intercom crackled to life. At first, I thought I'd leaned on it by accident. But I hadn't touched anything. The speaker let out a low, almost rhythmic sound. Like shallow breathing. No voice. Just breath. In and out. Slow. Wet. And close. It didn't come from outside. It was coming from the facility's internal intercom system, only used by someone standing at the panel in the hallway outside the office. I froze. For a moment, I told myself it was a glitch, maybe a short circuit from the rain. But then the breathing stopped, followed by a click, like someone hanging up. I rushed to the monitors. Hallway 4, empty. The main corridor, nothing. Every camera showed the same stillness I'd grown used to. But the feeling I had in my chest was new. Heavy. I double-checked the doors. Still locked. The gate outside hadn't been opened. No motion alerts. And yet I couldn't shake it. That sound wasn't imagined. It wasn't some radio interference. Someone had used the intercom. At 4 a.m., I finally convinced myself it had to be a prank. Maybe Angela was testing me. Maybe the system was wired weirdly and picking up some random signal from a trucker's CB. I sat back down and forced myself to get through the rest of the shift. But when I came in the next night, I noticed something on the monitor. One of the storage units, number 56, was open just a crack. I rewound the footage. No one had touched it. No motion. No visitors. But sometime after 3 a.m., the door had slowly slid open on its own. And this time, there was no breathing. Just silence. A silence that felt like it was waiting for me to make the next move. I didn't sleep that morning. Not really. My brain wouldn't stop turning that image over and over. Unit 56, cracked open like an invitation. And the intercom. I kept replaying that sound in my head, that slow, damp breathing. By the time I clocked in again, I was jittery from caffeine and running on about 90 minutes of sleep. Angela was still on shift when I arrived. I casually asked if she'd ever heard anything strange over the intercom. She just laughed and said the system barely worked half the time. "You'll probably hear rats mating in the vents before you hear anything useful," she joked. I didn't press it. She wouldn't believe me anyway. The moment she left, I went straight to the monitors. I rewound the feed from the night before, trying to catch when Unit 56 had opened. The timestamp flicked over to 3:11 a.m. The motion alert should have triggered, but nothing had been logged. The unit door just eased open. No wind. No movement nearby. It opened, and that was it. I stared at the grainy footage. Then I did something I probably shouldn't have. I switched to the live feed and zoomed in. There was someone inside. Not clearly, not directly. But I saw the edge of a sleeve. A shoulder, maybe. Barely visible in the dark. Whoever it was, they were standing just out of frame, still as stone. I stared at that image for almost a full minute, waiting for them to move. But they didn't. My hand hovered over the phone. I thought about calling Angela. Or the cops. But what could I even say? "Hey, someone's in a locked unit, but you can only kinda sorta see them if you squint." Yeah, no. I needed proof. I got up, grabbed the flashlight, and stepped out into the rain-soaked night. The gravel crunched under my boots as I walked past rows of storage units. My breath fogged the air in front of me. The floodlights flickered like they always did when it rained, making everything feel off, like a bad dream you can't wake up from. I found Unit 56. The door looked shut. Perfectly normal. I stared at it, hand on the flashlight, the other tightening into a fist. I didn't hear breathing. No footsteps. Nothing. Just my own heartbeat pulsing in my ears. Then I bent down and peeked through the tiny gap under the roll-up door. At first, all I saw was blackness. But then something moved. Just a shift in the dark, like someone repositioning their weight. A soft scrape of a shoe on concrete. And then, slowly, the unmistakable glint of an eye caught the ambient light. Someone was standing just a few feet away, staring at the door. Not trying to escape. Not yelling for help. Just watching. I stepped back. My mouth went dry. Then, the intercom in the hallway behind me clicked on again. And this time, it spoke. A whisper so low, I almost didn't catch it. "You're late, Ethan." I turned around, but there was no one there. I didn't open the unit. I couldn't. I locked myself in the office the rest of the night, every monitor glowing like a lighthouse in the storm. But Unit 56? The door stayed shut. Whatever was in there didn't need to come out. It had already started coming closer. After that night, I started logging everything. Not just the motion alerts, but timestamps, noises, camera glitches, anything unusual. I kept it in a notebook I hid behind the desk, away from Angela or anyone else who might think I was losing my mind. Because I wasn't. I knew what I saw. Every night after 3 a.m., the cameras would glitch for just a second. Not long, just a flicker. But when the feed returned, there'd be something new. Unit 50 SIX's door slightly ajar. A figure walking in the lot. Once, a hand pressing against the glass door of the office, but only visible on the monitor. Never in real life. The worst part? He was always in different spots. First near the back units. Then closer to the hallway. Then right outside the main door. The first time I saw his face, it was through the East Corridor camera. He stepped into the frame, stared directly at the lens, then tilted his head, slowly, like he was studying me. He was tall, thin, wearing a gray hoodie with the hood pulled tight. Pale skin, eyes sunk deep like he hadn't slept in years. But the thing that rattled me the most was his mouth. He was smiling. Not the kind of smile you give someone passing by. It was wide. Tense. Like he was forcing it. Like he didn't understand how to make the expression work but was doing it anyway. I paused the footage, printed it, and folded the paper into my notebook. I needed to show someone. Anyone. But when I checked the file the next morning, it was gone. Deleted. The entire feed between 3:02 and 3:17 a.m. had vanished. Angela didn't even blink when I told her. Ethan, these systems wipe old footage every few days. You know that. But it had only been 6 hours. The following night, I came in early. I wanted to catch him before he started playing whatever sick game he had in mind. I had my phone ready, flashlight in one hand, pepper spray in the other. I walked the whole property twice. Checked every lock, every unit door. All secure. At 2:59 a.m., I sat down in the office and watched the monitors like a hawk. At exactly 3:06 a.m., motion alert. Camera 3. Southeast corner. There he was again. Standing in the open space between Unit 56 and the fence. Just standing. This time, he was holding something. A long, thin object that glinted under the floodlight. I leaned in, trying to figure out what it was. Then he raised it slowly. A crowbar. And pointed it, directly at the office window. I jumped from the chair and ran to the door. The lot was empty. No footsteps. No sound. No man. I rushed back to the monitors. Gone. I checked the recording. Nothing. That's when it hit me. He didn't care about being seen. He wanted me to know he was there. He was toying with me. And each night, he was moving closer. Not breaking in. Not rushing the building. Just waiting for me to make a mistake. By the 7th night, I was running on fear and fumes. I'd called the sheriff's office around 4 a.m., after watching the man disappear into thin air for the 3rd time that week. The deputy who showed up looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Middle-aged, bored, name tag said, Rowan. I showed him the stills I'd printed from the monitor. The grainy shots of the man near Unit 56. The one where he was staring into the camera. I'd played the segment with the whisper over the intercom, though I had to crank the volume just to make it audible. Rowan listened with a blank expression. You sure you're not just hearing the wind through the vents? I almost laughed. Wind doesn't call my name. Wind doesn't smile into a camera. He sighed, took a slow walk around the property, and came back 10 minutes later with nothing to report. No sign of forced entry. No footprints. Could be local kids messing around. These places attract all kinds after dark. I wanted to grab him by the shirt and drag him to Unit 56. But I didn't. Because I knew what he'd find, a locked door, and nothing inside. Because during the day, that's what it always was. Just a cold, empty unit. The deputy left, promising to file a report I knew wouldn't go anywhere. But something changed after that. The man didn't show up on the monitors the next night. Or the night after that. I started to think maybe calling the cops had scared him off. Maybe he was just some freak with a key code and a taste for messing with people who were alone. I should have known better. It was the 9th night when everything finally snapped. 2:57 a.m. The monitors flickered to black for exactly 5 seconds. Then they came back on, every single camera displaying the same image. Not live feeds. Not the units. But a single still photo. Of me. Sleeping at the desk. I shot to my feet, heart slamming so hard I nearly puked. I hadn't fallen asleep. I know I hadn't. But the photo, it wasn't old. I was wearing the same clothes. The coffee cup was in the exact spot I'd just set it. The timestamp on the monitor read 2:54 a.m. I rushed to the window and looked out. And there he was, standing just outside the glass, inches away, his breath fogging up the pane. That same tight, broken smile stretched across his pale face. I didn't think. I hit the alarm and grabbed the emergency landline to call 911. This time, they took it seriously. 2 patrol cars showed up within 10 minutes. I was outside waving them down, shaking, trying to explain everything in a rush of panicked words. The man was gone. Of course. But I still had the intercom recording. I'd saved it to a USB drive just in case. Deputy Rowan came back. He didn't look bored this time. I plugged in the drive, hit play, and let him hear the whisper. That same low voice. "You're late, Ethan." Rowan's eyes narrowed. "Play that again." I did. He rubbed his jaw. "We'll pull the full system tomorrow. See if there's anything else buried in the backups." He turned to one of the other officers and said something under his breath. Something I wasn't supposed to hear. "Sounds just like the old guy said." Same voice. I didn't know what that meant. Not yet. But it was the first sign that this person, wasn't just targeting me. And whatever it was, it had happened before. I didn't sleep at all that morning. The moment I got home, I locked every door, turned off every light, and sat in the middle of the living room with a baseball bat in one hand and my phone in the other. I was half expecting the man to show up outside my apartment window. He never did. Not yet. When I got back to the facility that night, Angela was already gone. The note she left on the desk wasn't written for me, but it caught my attention immediately. "File left by Carl is in bottom drawer. Says you should read it." Freaked me out. Carl. I'd only heard the name once. He was the guy who used to work the night shift before me. Quit a few months back. No one really knew why, just walked off the job in the middle of the night and never came back. I opened the drawer. There was an envelope inside. Old, wrinkled, and sealed with a strip of electrical tape. It just had one word written across the front. "Don't." I opened it anyway. Inside was a handwritten note. No greeting, no intro. Just shaky block letters. "He comes at 3:06. Don't answer the intercom. Don't talk to him. Don't open Unit 56. If he says your name, leave. Don't try to find him. Don't stay past 10 nights. There was a second page smaller. A copy of a digital log. Camera feeds, motion sensors. All time-stamped. They looked exactly like mine. Same patterns. Same times. Same figure in the grainy footage. But the last entry chilled my blood. Night 10, 3:17 a.m. Door to office opened by itself. I saw him. He smiled. Said I'm next? I sat there staring at that sentence until my eyes blurred. Carl had left that note and vanished. No resignation. No contact. Just gone. The same shift. The same camera feeds. The same nightmare. I flipped the note over. One more line was scratched in hard, desperate strokes. There is no one inside Unit 56. He comes from the unit. He's not human. I dropped the papers like they burned. Every part of me wanted to leave. Quit. Drive until I was 5 states away. But something kept me rooted to that chair. I had to know the truth. If Carl was right, then tonight was night 10. And I couldn't leave. Not until I knew how it ended for him. Not until I saw the thing with my own eyes. Not until it came for me. The night air felt heavier than usual. Everything outside looked the same, the storage units lined in neat rows, the gravel lot crunching under my boots, the cold hum of the security lights. But there was a tension in the silence, like the entire place was holding its breath. I brought the note from Carl and placed it beside the keyboard. The camera feeds were already live. I checked every angle. All clear. At 2:58 a.m., I locked the office door from the inside. Twice. I turned off the overhead lights and sat behind the desk in the dark, staring at the screens with my phone recording the whole thing. My heart thumped like a ticking clock, louder than anything else in the room. I counted the seconds. 3:05 a.m. Nothing. 3:06 a.m. The monitors flickered. Camera 6, motion alert. He was back. Standing in front of Unit 56. This time, he wasn't alone. A second figure stepped out from the shadows. Smaller. Wearing the same gray hoodie, same pale face. But the features were blurred, like the camera couldn't focus. Both of them turned in unison and looked straight into the lens. I grabbed the landline. My fingers shook as I dialed. 911 rang once, then silence. No operator. No tone. Just a static buzz on the line. The intercom crackled. Ethan. The voice wasn't just a whisper this time. It was inside the room. I spun around, but the office was empty. Still locked. Why are you still here? The door handle clicked. I hadn't touched it. I stared as the lock on the heavy steel door turned itself, the bolts sliding open with a loud clunk that echoed through the room. I backed away, heart hammering against my ribs. Something was coming. The door creaked open an inch. Then another. I grabbed Carl's note and bolted into the hallway, nearly slipping as I hit the concrete. I didn't even look back, I just ran. But I didn't go for the main gate. I ran toward Unit 56. I had to see it. Had to know what was inside. My hands trembled as I punched in the override code Angela had shown me during my first week. The keypad beeped. Red light. Access denied? I tried again. Beep. Red light. I heard footsteps behind me. Slow. Heavy. Coming closer. I slammed my palm on the metal door and yelled, "Open!" And it did. Unit 56 opened on its own with a hiss of cold air. Inside, it was pitch black. A void. Not a room. Not a space. Just nothing. But the smell hit me instantly, like rusted metal and earth, and something else I couldn't place. Something rotten. I leaned in. My flashlight barely penetrated the darkness. It was like the light refused to go any further. Then a hand reached out from the void. Long fingers. Paper white skin. It stopped just inches from my chest. I stumbled back, slipping on the gravel. And as I hit the ground, the door slammed shut on its own. The keypad lit up again. Green this time. Unlocked. I stayed on the ground, my breath fogging in short, panicked bursts. The door to Unit 56 stood in front of me, shut now, but still unlocked. That green light glowed softly on the keypad like an invitation. Like it was waiting. I should have run. I knew that. But I couldn't stop staring. That hand, white as bone, smooth like porcelain, with too many knuckles, hadn't just reached toward me. It had paused. It was observing me. Like it was deciding something. And now the door was open. Technically. I stood slowly and pressed my ear to the steel. Silence. Then a whisper, so faint I wasn't sure I heard it. "Come and see." I fumbled out my phone and hit record. If I was going to die, I wanted someone to know what happened. I pulled the door open again. The cold hit me like a wall. Not just air, emptiness. Like stepping into a freezer that had no walls, no corners. The beam of my flashlight dissolved into the black. Nothing reflected. No concrete floor. No walls. Just black. I held the light steady and stepped inside. 1 foot. 2. And suddenly the light found something. A chair. Old. Metal. Rusted. And someone was sitting in it. I almost dropped the flashlight. The figure didn't move. It was hunched over, arms hanging limp, head tilted back at an impossible angle. I could see the dried blood crusted down its neck, the torn uniform shirt barely hanging on its frame. A name tag clung to the collar by one last thread. Carl. I staggered back. My flashlight beam swept the darkness and landed on another chair. And another. 10 of them. All occupied. All unmoving. All former guards. Each one had a different badge. Some looked newer than others. But all wore the same expression, mouth open mid-scream, eyes wide and dry as paper. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Then I heard it. Behind me. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Gurgling. I spun, flashlight shaking. And there he was. The man. Or the thing that looked like a man. Too tall, skin stretched too tight. That same gray hoodie hanging like a costume. But this time, I saw the truth. His face wasn't a face. It was a copy. Stitched together. Mimicking human features like a mask. The eyes weren't real. They were hollow, glassy. Like something trying to remember how to look human. He opened his mouth and let out a sound that wasn't speech. It was static. Like radio static, pitched to a shriek. I ran. Out of Unit 56. Through the yard. Into the office. I slammed the door and locked it, chest heaving, ears ringing. The monitors had gone black again. All except one. Camera 6. It showed Unit 56. Still open. And the figure. Now standing in the doorway. Facing the camera. Facing me. I don't remember falling asleep. I must have passed out on the floor of the office, somewhere between fear and total mental collapse. When I woke up, it was daylight. The monitors were off. The air felt different, like whatever had been there the night before had left, at least for now. I didn't clock out. I just walked. Straight out the front gate, into my car, and drove until my hands stopped shaking. Angela didn't text. She didn't ask where I'd gone. No one did. That day felt like a blur. But I couldn't stop thinking about the chairs inside Unit 56. The way each one had a body. Each one had a name tag. A record of who came before. And the way that thing had let me go. Why? I should have ended up in one of those chairs. Just like Carl. Like the others. I should have become part of whatever it was building inside that unit. But I didn't. Because I saw it. And I ran. The realization hit me like a gut punch. It wants to be seen. It mimics people. Copies faces. Whispers names. It lures you in. And if you play along, if you let it talk to you, or answer the intercom, or open that door, it takes you. It doesn't kill you. It keeps you frozen, silent, watching, like trophies, like puppets. I spent the whole day researching. Anything I could find, missing person reports, old news clippings, complaints filed against the storage facility. But there was nothing. No mention of Carl. No reports of employees disappearing. Like they never existed. Like the facility erased them. Or something else did. I checked the employee portal. My name had already been removed from the schedule. Just like that. As if I'd never worked there. No email. No call. No record. The company knew. They knew what that place was. What was inside Unit 56. And they needed someone to see it, just long enough to feed it again. I wasn't supposed to survive. And the longer I stayed alive, the more I started to think. It wasn't done with me yet. I tried to go back. Not because I wanted to, but because I had to know if it was still there. The place. The office. Unit 56. I drove the exact route I always took, straight down the back highway, past the truck stop, 2 left turns, then the long gravel road through the woods. Except, the road wasn't there anymore. No signage. No mailbox. Just overgrown trees where the turn used to be. I slowed down, confused, thinking maybe I missed it. But I didn't. It was gone. I pulled over and searched the address online. The name of the facility, the GPS coordinates, everything I had. And nothing came up. Not a single result. Not even cached pages. It had been wiped. Like it never existed. I even scrolled through Google Street View from a year ago. There it was. Plain as day. But try to access a live view now, and the screen just turns gray. Error loading image. I sat in my car for hours, parked in that same spot, trying to make sense of it. My brain screamed to let it go. To walk away. Pretend it was a nightmare. Move on. But the worst part. I still had Carl's note. I took it from my glove box and unfolded it again, even though I'd already memorized every word. But something new had appeared at the bottom. A sentence. Written in the same handwriting. Only, I know it wasn't there before. It said, "You were never supposed to leave." I dropped the note like it was burning my fingers. Back at home, strange things started happening. The hallway light flickered when I passed it. My phone alarm would go off at exactly 3:06 a.m. every night, even after I deleted the app. One night, I came home to find my bedroom window wide open. I live on the 3rd floor. And the next morning, on my bathroom mirror, written in the fog, "Unit 56 is open." I scrubbed the glass clean with shaking hands, heart racing. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak in the floorboards. Every shadow in the corner. Every electrical hum. It all felt like a warning. Like something was coming through. I thought I left that nightmare behind. But it followed me. It wanted me to look. And I did. Now it knows where I live. I knew I couldn't run anymore. Every night, the message on my mirror haunted me. Unit 56 is open. It wasn't just a warning. It was a door. An invitation. A trap. So I made a choice. I went back. Not to the storage facility, because it didn't exist anymore, but to the place where I first saw it. The old building on the edge of town. A forgotten warehouse that the city condemned years ago. The air was thick with dust and silence. Broken windows stared like empty eyes. I felt the cold grip of something watching. I pulled out Carl's note, read it one last time, then stepped inside. The dark swallowed me whole. I found a rusted metal door, just like the one from Unit 56. It stood in the middle of the empty space, untouched by time. I pressed my hand against it. It was cold, too cold. The kind of cold that seeps into your bones and doesn't leave. Then the door creaked open. Inside was the same endless black void. The same hollow emptiness. But this time, I wasn't afraid. I stepped inside. A figure waited. Not the thing in the gray hoodie. Not the stitched face. A man. Carl. He looked the same as the last time, hunched, silent, eyes wide. But this time, he reached out his hand. No words. Just a simple choice. I took it. And the void swallowed us both. The next morning, the city reported another missing person. No signs. No leads. No explanation. Just another chair in the darkness. Another name lost to the night shift.